This is Korora 26 with the Gnome desktop. It's based on Fedora 26, which was introduced about 5 months ago. Quite a bit of time has elapsed. However, since the Fedora repositories are kept up to date, the software you get with Korora 26 is also quite up to date. As with Fedora, the default display manager is Wayland. However, I'm making this video with the Xorg session, and you can change that upon logging in. And the reason I'm doing that is that I'm using Simple Screen Recorder, and it simply does not work in Wayland. Now, I did install Easy Screencast, which you can see up here. It's a Gnome extension, and it works with Wayland. However, it's extremely resource intensive. I couldn't get it to work at all with sound. Without sound, it worked a little bit, but as you can see from this example I'm about to show you, the resource use began to climb until it reached astronomical levels, and it stopped working altogether. Therefore, I went back to the Xorg session, and I'm using Simple Screen Recorder. Here's the clip from Easy Screencast. I was able to get Simple Screen Recorder from the Fedora repositories, as I was with Fedora itself, and it works well in the Xorg session. However, I had the same problem with Korora 26 Gnome as I had with Fedora 26 Gnome and Fedora 25 Gnome, and that was the fact that the Simple Screen Recorder window is larger than the space on the display. I haven't had this problem with any other desktop, and I haven't had this problem even with the Gnome desktop in any other distribution. But with Fedora and Korora, as you can see, I can't access the controls at the bottom of the Simple Screen Recorder window. So what I had to do is I had to install an extension in the Gnome tweak, and that was to hide the top bar, and I had to get that from the internet. So once I enabled that, you can see that Simple Screen Recorder was able to move up to the top, and I was able to access the controls here at the bottom of the window. Now, I've only encountered this with Simple Screen Recorder, but you may very well encounter this with other applications. As soon as I move Simple Screen Recorder away from the top bar reappears. However, no matter how I set the top bar, I cannot get it to reappear by moving my cursor toward the top. So this extension does not work particularly well. I'm going to turn it off again just to show you how Gnome 3 usually looks. There are some differences in the way GNOME 3.24 is implemented in Korora and the way it was implemented in Fedora. For one thing, it comes with the tweak tool already installed by default, whereas in Fedora you had to download the tweak tool. However, there's another problem with the tweak tool in general, and that is that it has become much more difficult to access the online extensions. It's extremely difficult in Firefox since Firefox 52, and we're now on Firefox 55 and counting. It's a little easier with Chromium, so that's one reason that I got rid of Firefox and I installed the Chromium web browser. Some of the differences you may note are, instead of having just the Activities button up here, you have these three dots which perform the same function, and you also have a Places menu. That's one of the extensions. You also have a weather application. Looking at the tweak tool again as it was installed, comes with the arc theme and the Numix circle icons. It comes with the breeze cursors and the arc shell theme. Now, animations were originally enabled. I disabled them. It came with a different background, but that's incidental, and there's a nice selection of backgrounds. When it comes to extensions, it came with Dash to Dock enabled, which means that you don't have to click on Activities or press the super key to get the dash. It's always available when the applications are minimized, as you can see over here. And when they're not minimized, you can still get them by clicking on these three dots up here. Now, as I said, I installed Easy Screencast. I installed Hide the Top Bar, but I've disabled it for now. Came with Open Weather, if you see up here, 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit. It came with the Places status indicator, which is Places up here. Came with the removable drive menu. I haven't looked into that. Came with user themes. Now under Windows and title bar buttons, it came with Maximized enabled. This one, it toggles Maximize on and off. However, it didn't come with the Minimize button. That's this one. I had to enable it. If I unclick this, you can see the Minimize button disappears. If I click on this, it reappears. It wasn't a great problem using these because basically the tweak tool came installed. Now when it comes to the available applications, Korora has a lot more than Fedora did. Audacity is installed. I think GNOME Boxes was in either case. The calendar was in either case. As I said, I installed the Chromium web browser and got rid of Firefox due to the difficulty of using Firefox getting the Gnome extensions. Clocks was installed with both of them, contacts. This Kora here is a 3D printer control. And the dark table was installed by default for organizing photographs, documents, nothing new about that. The Exiga soft phone, I haven't tried that. Empathy, of course, came with both of them. And Evolution, the email client that is associated with Gnome. The FB Reader I haven't tried. The Fedora Media Writer, which is for installing Fedora ISOs on USB sticks. I use Gnome disks for that anyway, so I don't need that. Files, of course, comes with everything. Font Manager, I can't recall whether it came with Fedora or not. Fonts Tweak Tool, again, I'm not sure about that. G-Note. I do know for a fact that GNU image manipulation program, which is GIMP, came by default with Korora, and you had to download it on Fedora. Gparted. The GTK front end for Record My Desktop came with Korora, but not with Fedora, and it doesn't work very well, so I'm not using it. Handbrake is a utility for switching from one multimedia file type to another. It's quite useful. Ice-T, Inkscape came by default. It doesn't with Fedora. Now all of the LibreOffice applications came with both. This is Liferia. I have absolutely no idea what it does. It looks like a utility for reading various news sources. Here, if I click on Ars Technica, I can read these various articles. I usually do that the regular way by Googling Ars Technica. Maps, I think, comes with both. The Open JDK 8 Policy Kit. OwnCloud Desktop, I think that's unique to Korora. Package Updater and Packages. Actually, this is, see, it's a sort of a bare bones application. You enter what you're looking for. Comes with the TV video editor, but I don't use that. I've tried it in the past and kept crashing. I haven't tried using it recently. Comes with Pomodoro. Again, I don't know what that is. I'll find out. It's a timer. All right, I don't need that right now. It comes with the project management utility, which should be quite useful. Of course, pulse audio volume control, I think, is available in both. Rhythm box, I believe, is available in both. This is for searching for files. I think you can do that anyway, but I haven't used this. Then you have the SE Linux Manager, Policy, etc. This is something unique to Fedora. It's a security system unique to Fedora. Now it comes with settings. And here are the usual GNOME settings. They look a little different here because of the numeric circle icons. Comes with Shotwell. Simple Scan, I think, is available and everything. Simple Screen Recorder I downloaded without any difficulty from Gnome software. And here's Gnome software. I'll look into that in a minute. Comes with Sound Converter, which I believe is not available in Fedora by default. Sound Juicer, the same way. Now here it comes with a Sundry. And that's a configuration editor, dconf editor, firewall, ICE-T, SC Linux troubleshooter. I think that may be available in both of them. Text editor, which is gedit, transmission, the BitTorrent client, utilities. Here it has the archive manager, backups, characters, disk usage analyzer, Gnome disks, document viewer, which is PDF viewer, font viewer, help, image viewer, logs, screenshot, system log, system monitor, terminal, and tweak tool. Again, the tweak tool was available by default in Korora, but you had to download it in Fedora. Now, Korora came with the VLC media player, my favorite media player, by default. I didn't have to install it. It's available with Fedora, but only if you install the RPM Fusion repositories. And this is this weather app here. This is the Korora welcome screen, which is different from Fedora. Comes with new features here, Gnomes 3.24, LibreOffice 5.3, Fedora Media Writer. Apparently that's it for what's new. And this last one here, the Yum Extender DNF version, I installed. I prefer it to Gnome software. But let's take a look at Gnome software for a minute. Takes a minute to load the data. One thing I find here is that some of the categories are somewhat limited. For instance, there's no internet category shown here, but there is an internet category. It just isn't shown. If you want to search for something, you used to go to a little magnifying glass up here, but the little magnifying glass has been replaced by this series of concentric circles that looks like a target of sorts. You click on that and you get a search bar. I'll look for one that I like that's fairly rare, PyRenamer. And it says no application found. One of the things I don't like about Gnome software is there are sometimes applications available that are not found in Gnome software but can be found with the Yum Extender or by using the terminal. So I'm going to go to the Yum Extender here. Now it's taking time to reload the repository metadata also. Now I'm going to look for Pi renamer again. And there it is. It's available in the Fedora repository. It's just not available with Gnome software. I'm not going to install it now, however. So you may want to install the yum extender if you're using Gnome and not rely entirely on Gnome software. Now just briefly I'm going to look at the backgrounds. It's quite a nice selection of backgrounds. It's the one I'm looking at now. And you can see many others in here. This one seems to switch automatically because it suddenly appeared on my screen the first time I looked at this. Anyway, I'm not going to make any changes now. I like the one I have, Paris in the morning. So that's Korora 26 with the Gnome 3.24 desktop. This is XRAM Tech. Thanks for watching.